Back here in Kansas City, where the Guardians and the Royals are getting ready to square off in Game 2 of this weekend series, or weekday series, I should say. The Guardians come in at 69-64. They've gone 7-4 on the year against Kansas City, while the Royals are 55-81. Kansas City 15.5 games back in the Central Division. Cleveland leads Minnesota by a game, and they have a 2-game lead over the Chicago White Sox. Here tonight, the Guardians try to keep it rolling. Last night, they were saved by the man-child Oscar Gonzalez.
Well, this young man came up and got a huge hit for him late in the ball game, something he's done all year long. And he didn't quit. And, you know, when you look at him, he is turning into a very good clutch hitter in his first year in the big league. Drives in Rosario. You see Ramirez right there. He was thrilled about that. You look at his numbers on the year, 26 runs batted in, 13, half of them coming in the 7th inning or later, 6th in the 9th. And he's had 3 in the 9th, 3 in the 10th, and his 21 doubles. He's going to end up being second on this team in doubles by the time the year is out.
Now, Rick, Shane Bieber is on the hill for Cleveland tonight, and you can make a case that over the last 7 games, he's pitched as well as anybody in baseball.
Well, Shane Bieber has been on a roll. You look at his last 7 starts, he's been locked in. You know, that slider, that curveball. And in that start against Baltimore that we're looking at, he only gave up 6 hits, but 3 of them left the ballpark. And you can see, though, 4-2 record of 1.90 ERA, 54 strikeouts and 7 walks. And, you know, he has never lost to Kansas City, so he's on the road again. You can see a 1.21 ERA by the bullpen. Since the All-Star break, there have been none better. They have been timely. 12 games, they did not allow a run, so the bullpen's been locked in. Bieber's been locked in. I like their chances tonight.
We'll be back with tonight's first pitch, and we'll check in with Andre Knott coming up next. Well, Terry Francona and the Guardians trying to keep some momentum rolling tonight here against Kansas City. And the Guardians will turn to Shane Bieber, who has once again turned in a solid performance. One of the top pitchers in the American League. You look across statistically, and he's right there in all the meaningful categories: innings pitched, strikeouts, earned run average, and more on the Biebs. Let's go down to Andre Knott.
Well, it's funny. You talk about the changes that Shane Bieber has made and how his career has worked out for him so far. He goes back to being at UC Santa Barbara, and some hitting coach that was a former big leaguer named Chris Valleca came in. And he said when he came into town, it changed things for him and his career.
I learned a lot from him. He brought a different aspect to a West Coast college baseball program. Having experience in the big leagues and in pro ball, I thought he rounded out our team and our coaching staff extremely well, and brought, like I said, a different aspect, a different kind of thought process, because in college, it is all about development, and it was still about development, but you kind of know what I mean. It's just a different way of playing the game, and so I remember he was part of kind of a culture change, and which led to our success.
I think when you hear that comment from Shane Bieber about what Chris Valleca did for them in college, there's a lot of hitters over here, Matt, Rick, that feel the same way. That Chris has brought a different vision, a different way of going about the game, and has helped to the success of this team this year.
You know, Andre, we always hear those sayings, the little phrases from people as we're growing up. Buddy Bell had a great saying about coaching, bedside manner. And Chris Valleca has a terrific bedside manner. He knows how to say it, he knows when to say it, and he has, just a perfect delivery to get the message across.
And the beautiful thing, he's got a lot of young players that, are going to sit down and listen, which is nice. And he's even worked with Rosario and has turned him around this year, a guy that's been in the big league. So, yeah, I mean, it's worked out very well for him.
We'll be back. Tonight's first pitch is straight ahead. Well, the Royals have taken the field, and Kris Bubic, the left-hander, is out there for Kansas City. He's probably hoping that this start will be a lot better than the last time he faced Cleveland.
Boy, he better hope so, or he won't be around long. He made his first start of the year here April 10th. Then he went 2/3 of an inning, gave up 3 hits and 5 runs, all of them earned. He walked a pair, only threw 29 pitches, so it was a short one. I'm sure he wants to come back and have a redemption start. Well, he's going to get an opportunity. We'll see. It's going to be his 23rd start this year, and he's pitched a couple times out of the bullpen against him as well.
All right, let's take a look at Terry Francona's starting lineup presented by Progressive. Stephen Kwan in the leadoff spot, 8th in the American League in batting average. Ahmed Rosario leading the league in triples in the tool. Jose Ramirez leads the league in doubles, 2nd in runs batted in. He's going to DH tonight. Then Oscar Gonzalez, last night's hero in the cleanup spot. Andres Jimenez, 7th in the league in batting average, hitting 5th. Owen Miller is 6th. He's in for Josh Naylor at first base tonight. Tyler Freeman, he's been hot with the bat. He's at third base batting 7th. Then Austin Hedges is 8th and Miles Straw batting 9th.
Check out the defense for the Royals tonight. It looks like this, brought to you by Rally House. Melendez is in left, Taylor in center, Waters over in right. On the infield, it looks like this. Dozier at third, Witt Jr. gets the start at short, Macias at second, Prado at first, Perez doing the catching.
Andre Knott's umpiring crew looks like this. Adam Hamari is at first base. Adam Hamari's calling the balls and strikes. Nick Marley's at first base. Ryan Blackney at second, and the crew chief, Adrian Andre Johnson, is at third base tonight. Mike Sarbaugh is all over him to start the game. Here we go as Stephen Kwan steps in. And Chris Bubic, who does not use the windup, delivers. And we're underway outside ball 1.
Well, and Bubic has faced only 107 left-handed hitters this year, but they're hitting 360 off him with 16 walks and 6 homers on the year. So left-handers take advantage.
Game time temperature tonight, 81 degrees. And not a cloud in sight.
A little warmer tonight than it was last night.
Now the 1-1. And Kwan with a bouncing ball. And
nobody at first.
Pitcher's going to have to hurry, and I don't know if he got there in time. The call on the field is out at first. Bubic racing over.
It looked like he beat him.
Guardians will take a look to be sure.
Boy, unless he got a foot in there, it looked like he beat him to the bag. Because he was the first baseman over there, Prado. He took off. Look at it. There was nowhere in sight. You got to know where the second baseman is.
And no challenge.
No, okay, then he got that foot in there. And he's lucky.
It's almost as close as the play we had to end the game last night.
Watch his foot. It could have got stepped on badly as he goes to the back part of the bag. He's lucky Kwan only wears a size 9 shoe. If he wore a 13, he may be in trouble.
That might have been one of those ones where it was so close it's just not worth a roll of the dice to start the game, because if you lose that challenge,
yes,
you don't have any recourse until the 8th inning.
I think it was too close to even challenge. You're right. First baseman, though, Prado, he shouldn't even have been there.
He kind of panicked because he took too many steps in toward the ball and realized, uh-oh, now I can't get back.
Got to realize where your second baseman is playing before that guy hits.
Now Ahmed Rosario with a hit in back-to-back games.
Change up. That's where he's going to be effective, is on that changeup. We'll see how they approach him. Using the big part of the field would be a good idea, because I don't know if he's got enough on the fastball to get it inside on you. You could foul it off.
Not a play. Now the 1-2 offering. Fouled away.
He's doing a good job. That's 95 in there, but he can still foul it off.
Lengthy battle here, the 1-2.
There's another change.
13 roller to short. Bobby Witt Jr. with a strong throw to get Rosario. 2 down. Storylines are brought to you by Wayside Furniture. Hammer down.
Yeah, they know they have to do that in September and tighten the screws on defense. That's what they have to do. A couple of errors last night. They're now.
Only 2 teams, I think, have committed more errors.
Yeah, they've made 80 errors, and they're 12th in the league in fielding percentage. So they've got to tighten it down and don't give up any extra outs, especially the way the pitchers have been pitching.
Now Jose Ramirez, he's serving as a designated hitter. Ramirez had a stretch where he had 43 runs batted in over his last 43 games played. But then somebody pulled the plug because he has no runs batted in his last 8 ball games. I asked Terry Francona before the game if Jose Ramirez, remember we saw last night, he chased a ball down and in, almost hit him in the back leg.
Right.
If when the team struggles, if he maybe starts to try to shoulder more of the load himself, the 1-1, and that's hit on the right side. Massey will throw him out. The Guardians go 1-2-3, and the Royals are coming to bat.
Brought to you by your Northeast Ohio Ford dealer. Bieber making his 26th start. You can see he's 8-8, but 4-0 in his career, making start number 12 against Kansas City. 338 earned run averages. This should be a very good ballpark for him to pitch in.
Mike Matheny's starting lineup for Kansas City has MJ Melendez leading off. Bobby Witt Jr. in the 2 hole. Salvador Perez will hit 3rd. Then Nick Pratto, Michael Taylor, and Ryan O'Hearn in the starting lineup tonight. He'll DH. Hunter Dozier is at the hot corner. He gets to start and batting 7th. Michael Massey at second base is 8th, and Drew Waters bats 9th.
And the Rally House defense for the Guardians looks like this. Quan, Straw, Gonzalez in the outfield. On the infield, Freeman will be at 3rd, Rosario at short, Jimenez at 2nd, Miller at 1st, and the Hedges doing the catching.
Shane Bieber facing MJ Melendez, who was 1 for 4 with a run batted in last night.
You remember in Bieber's last start, the first pitch he threw got hit out of the ballpark by Mullins against Baltimore. He gave up 2 homers in that first inning. But he came right out there and threw a nice low dart down and away.
You know, watching Melendez last night and looking at his approach, the way he sets up. Melendez, I think of Adley Rushman in Baltimore. Also Salvador Perez here in Kansas City. What does that opening up of the stance do for a hitter?
Puts both eyes right on the pitcher where you can see him. But you see that foot closes. They bring it in and it closes, but they're getting a good look and get everything in as they close up to, you know, load and do whatever you have to do to get into your rhythm. But watch how his head is directly facing. That's why people always used to say it's easier to bunt because you're squaring and you see the ball with two eyes.
Right. High, towering fly ball right field. Pretty deep, but Gonzalez plenty of room. And makes the catch 1 down. I guess my question, Arch, is if that helps you get a better look, why don't we see more hitters adopt that approach? Is it just a comfort thing, a feel
it's
thing?
more of a comfort. Maybe their one eye is not as dominant as it should be, your right eye. You see both eyes are looking right at it, but watch how that front foot closes once he lifts that foot up. I mean, he gets a good look at it by the time he's delivering the baseball.
Yeah, see how the foot's open towards
it's
first
open
base.
And now he closes it, but the head's still there. You know,
Yeah.
he can see it maybe a little bit better as he's releasing it. And it doesn't have to be much. Some guys may have to do it more. It all depends, I think, on eyesight. What do we always say? When you're slumping or something, you may not be picking up the baseball all that well.
Yeah.
You know, but when you can see it a little bit more, you have some healthy cuts. You still go into slumps, though, even when you see it. You need 2 more eyes. You need 4 eyes. If you want to.
Well, then I think about, like, Mike Stanton, Giancarlo Stanton in New York. He's
closed.
closed. Almost
Right.
the opposite
Right.
approach.
But that's to keep his body the way it is, and he can hit it out of any part of the ballpark. Yeah, it's different for everybody. Not everybody has the problem.
I love this conversation because also you always hear hitting coaches from a little kid up say you got to drive your shoulder down and in. And when you're open like that, it seems like it would be difficult to drive your shoulder into the swing.
Well,
You know what I mean? I mean, it's different
As
for
long
everybody.
as you get back, like Art said, is when you begin your swing, you've got to be where everybody always is.
you
You've
got to
gotta
be balanced. Your hands got to be back. Your shoulders got to be closed, and you drive through the ball. I mean, everything. If you can do it that way, I mean, if it's comfortable for you, it is for some. Some it isn't.
I think the ones that you just talked, the Stantons of the world, are the ones that are odd to me. Like,
Oh, the ones that are closed. There
Yeah,
used to be
would-
a lot of guys that
that
were
would close all the way
closed.
up like that?
Yeah. Yes.
Who was the guy that we just faced from, and you caught up from Houston?
Weak ground ball towards second base. Jimenez will throw out Bobby Witt Jr. 2 down.
It was a guy from Houston that was driving the ball to right field on us.
Oh,
The
that's
outfielder.
McCormick.
McCormick, yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he's closed, and he likes the ball away. You see, when you're
Right.
open, that doesn't necessarily mean you like the ball in.
Well, that was what I was going to say. When you're open like this, if you're going against against the lefty, Melendez probably is going to have problems against sliders away, you would think.
No, he could slap it the other way.
Okay.
He doesn't have to try to pull the ball.
But here again, now when you watch Perez, and this is an adjustment he's made in his career. He wasn't always
doubt.
like this. Seemed like he did this when he started hitting more home
Yep.
runs.
Yeah,
agree.
but yes. But watch how that front hip closes. He's got his eyes on. Now it closes.
And he almost cheated there. You see how he takes almost like a,
Yes.
as the pitch was coming, he takes like a half step, then kind of closes it up.
But it's a timing mechanism that every hitter has to find for themselves, is what it turns out to be. And you take the sting away from it there, you see, because he was open.
3 up, 3 down. After 1, no score in Kansas City. Take a look at our Kia player profile. Here's a list of the most major league debuts by team.
Yeah.
Cleveland is second only to Oakland.
I didn't think anybody could have more
I
than
didn't
we
either.
did, to be honest with you. But we got rid of Oakland early, so that doesn't surprise us there. And you can see Kansas City now with 13. The Cubs have 14. This is the most rookies you'll see, and we've seen in ages.
And now Oscar Gonzalez to lead off for Cleveland here in the second inning. He is one of those 15 who have made their debut this year for the Guardians. And what an impact he has made.
Yeah, you go back and think of all the 15 guys that have made an appearance between him and Juan. How lucky did they get this year with these two filling out and rounding out the outfield and playing pretty much every day?
It's what you've been screaming for the last couple of years, some consistency in the outfield, and we finally may have getting close to having it, Arch.
Yeah, I agree.
And it's nice to know who the right fielder, left fielder, or center fielder are going to be every day.
Well, it's nice to see somebody on a consistent basis and try and play every day. Although Oscar got hurt a little bit, he had a little rib cage muscle or something on there, but boy, he didn't miss a beat after coming back though.
Changeup is really getting to these righties so far.
Yeah, that's his strength right there, is the changeup. But stay on the baseball, think other way, and force him to throw the ball by you, and he can't do it.
Remember how the Baltimore Orioles came to town last week and they were just dominating?
Yeah.
They've gone home, and in the last 24 hours, Bo Bichette has 4 home runs now. He had 3 yesterday.
Yeah, I see. He hit another one.
Another one tonight.
All right, now this is where SpongeBob's got to make an adjustment.
And that's what Tino said before the game. You know, he with 2 strikes, he has the ability not necessarily to change his approach, but he's just got such quick wrist that he can hit bad pitches
He
or
stays
pitches that
back.
are off the strike.
He stays back. The changeup's got him twice in this at bat. He may take him off of it with a 2-2 count. Maybe not. He may come right back with another one. But stay back and try and let this guy jam you. See, there's his breaking ball. Or was that a fastball?
I think he just missed low with a
think he
heater.
missed with a heater.
Okay. Left-handers can't throw it straight.
We got the swing. We got the swing clinic with Jimmy Hanlon. Now we got the swing.
Well, here we go now with a changeup coming back. That's my guess. There it was, and there it was. He got it off the end of the bat. But that's got to be his approach, is to stay back on it.
StatCast 3D powered by Google Cloud. Chris Bubich, mostly fastballs.
Yeah.
And, good dose of changeup, curveball action.
That's got to set him up, his fastball, so he can get to that changeup away. Left-handers, he hasn't been very good against. I told you, 360 batting average off him. So that may eliminate his changeup a little bit, so he can only be maybe fastball slider. Let's see if that's the case here against the lefties. It's only Juan Jimenez, and that's it. This is a guy you might want to load the whole lineup with left-handers if you had him.
Jimenez fouls a pitch back out of play. He comes in 7th in the league in batting average, hitting .301. 2 for 5 last night with a double and 2 runs scored. He just continues to be in the middle of everything they do. When they roll offensively, he's normally a big part of it.
That hit him in the hand. That's another hit by pitch. So that's number 18 for him. He's trying to come in. Was that the breaking ball? No, it was a fastball. Got him on the hand.
That will move him into a tie for the league lead with Anthony Rizzo of the Yankees. In a category you really don't want to lead the league in.
That's not a fun category to lead the league in at all. It's painful, as a matter of fact.
Ouch. He wanted to be a leader. He didn't want to lead in this.
Right. That's so true.
Well, Rizzo's on paternity leave, so he's got a chance to get past him in the next couple of days.
Oh, geez, thanks. Tell him that.
I'll wait till after the game.
But, he doesn't give an inch. That's what makes him so good against left-handers as well.
Now Owen Miller. There
Good
goes Jimenez.
job.
Perez with a good throw, and they got him at second base.
I'll tell you what, Perez did not get out of his crouch. He just comes up, and Jimenez had a very good jump, and he ends up throwing him out with a perfect throw. He slid right into the tag.
That is only the 3rd time this year Jimenez has been thrown out trying to steal.
Look at the throw. Breaking ball. He stays on his knees and fired a perfect throw right on the bag. He slides into it. Wow. Well done.
And someone, watching this that maybe doesn't follow the Royals or know much about Salvador Perez might just think, well, that was kind of a lucky throw.
No.
You got to watch this guy work. He works at it. We've seen him. When there's nobody in the stadium and he's the only guy out on the field except for another coach and a machine that feeds him baseball.
Right.
And he throws, and man, he's got a terrific arm, but he works at it.
It's done by work. You're absolutely right.
Middle of the 2nd, no score in Kansas City.
On, and you don't want to miss the action. You can watch all out-of-market regular season games live or on demand, plus big inning on MLB TV now for only $29.99. Blackout and other restrictions apply. Visit MLB.tv for the details.
Nick Pratto leads off the home half of the 2nd for Kansas City. And Shane Bieber misses down low for ball 1. Pratto has hit in 7 of his last 10 games since that 0 for 21 slump. Couple of Southern Californians squaring off right here.
Seems like that's every night. A lot of,
well, that's true.
A lot of California
not
boys.
necessarily unusual. Pratto, of course, drafted out of high school by the Royals. And a weak ground ball top to first. And Owen Miller takes it himself, 1 away. Hey, let's check out our Mr. Clean magic stat.
All right, Mr. Clean.
Look at him down
Extra
there in the left-hand
durable,
corner.
extra durable. Let's go.
Shane Bieber, in his career in the division, has been pretty dominant.
Yes, indeed. Well, that's one thing. Next year, we'll be missing what? How many games? 24 games out of our division. So
Yeah, so instead of
6 games from each team.
Yeah, instead of a home and home 3 times, it'll be 2 with each team in the
Correct.
division.
So that'll be add up to 24 games, and that's the reason we'll be playing everybody in baseball now. The interleague games will be facing every team at least once, which I'm sort of looking forward to be honest with you.
Well, look, Shane Bieber, Andres Jimenez, Jose Ramirez, they can't control what division they
No,
play in.
absolutely.
The rules are what they are, and I know there's a lot of people outside the Central Division who complain, Cleveland's in the right division, sure, I'm sure Tito, he'd love to be 20 games over 500 like some of those other teams are. They're in the Central Division. This happens to be a year where they're 5 games over 500 and they're in first place. You can't apologize for that.
No.
And they're not going to.
And not long ago, the Central Division had some of the best pitching in baseball, if you go back and think about it.
Michael Taylor with a 1-out single here in the 2nd inning. However, I will say this, it will be interesting starting next year to see if and how the new schedule may change divisional races.
Yes.
Because you won't be able to, go in and, say, beat up on a team because
In
they
your
may be
division.
down.
Yeah.
And I don't know.
I think it's going to be interesting. I really do. I think it'll be good. I mean, how many times you hear us say, well, we see our teams in our division enough. We want to play other
We
teams.
do. And I think it tells you more about who your team is. And Tito brought it up to me a week or so ago. He thinks since you're putting that extra team in the wild card, it makes the wild card races more fair.
Yes, it does.
I think this, Dre, and look, we're going to see it here in the month of September. I don't necessarily mind playing Kansas City, Detroit,
No.
Chicago, the number of times we do. It's what we're going to have coming up here, where we're going to play Minnesota 8 times in 11 days,
Right.
or 10 days, I think, whatever it is. It's
A lot.
that's not fun because it's too much.
Yeah, it's not
too
good.
much.
It's not good for anybody involved.
I was
Whether
gonna
it's the
say-
fans, whether it's us, whether it's the players. O'Hearn's that's barking a little bit.
I was going to say, I'll ask you when we're in the 4th game of that 6-game series to end the year with Kansas City.
Don't you? Yeah, I won't say words I'll be able to say on the air. I know that already.
We're not
Oh,
gonna-
that would look
Knee
like it was
shot?
off the inside of the knee.
Yeah.
He's hurt.
Watch the right knee.
Oh,
right off
man.
the knee. It looked like it went off the kneecap.
Yeah, he's in pain.
You don't rarely see a guy just drop his bat like
Right,
that.
right.
That told me.
He's got to get some feeling on it. There's no meat around the bone there.
You always say he's feeling in it, but that's when it hurts more. But I know it's like when
Give him a minute. He'll be right back. You give him a minute to just rest it. Watch it. Right off the, it looked like the kneecap to me. Pitch inside, falls it straight down.
Oh,
It's
it's
off that
right off the
inside.
kneecap.
That's the
Oh.
worst. I think that's worse than off the front, believe it
Yeah.
or not. That big bony part of the inside of your knee.
you know he wants to stay in the game, but if he can't, all right, there he goes. So you throw something inside, a cutter inside after that,
Throw
right?
the
Arch?
same pitch.
Same pitch. Edgy.
There's no love lost.
Not at
It's
all.
baseball. Well, let's see what they do. See if he wants to hit the swing at that cutter again on the inside part. He went knuckle curve.
Three on the right side of the infield for Cleveland. Ryan O'Hearn has hit 175 this year as a starter. And he drills that one into right field. Michael Taylor's going to try for third. Oscar Gonzalez with a great throw, but it's offline. And Taylor will reach third safely. First and third, one out for Kansas City.
Yeah, he slowed it down and gave him some swinging room on a breaking ball again. Let's check out the pitch he hits. That's another breaking ball. That was middle of the plate. Made a bad pitch, and he took advantage of it. Gonzalez, if this throw is on line, might have had a chance because he got it just before he hit second base, and Taylor goes to third, but the throw was offline. Although there's one out, you've got the opportunity for a ground ball double play, or you can go for a strikeout.
Hunter Dozier will be the batter. Right back up the middle. This could be two. Freeman steps on the bag, goes to first. Inning ending double play. So Bieber gets a 2 for 1 ball, and we go to the third in Kansas City with no score.
Ohtani come to Cleveland for the 3-game series. That'll be against the Guardians September 12th through the 14th. That's Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Pick up a district ticket presented by Miller Lite or a $15 kids ticket and get to the Progressive Field. Visit CLEGuardians.com for more information.
Tyler Freeman will lead off for Cleveland here.
Well, last night, Matt, Tyler Freeman hit a ball late in the game down the line. He thought he had a double when it hit his bat, but Witt Jr. said no, no, no. Maybe one of the best plays we've seen all year long. Well, here's the part that no one knew, and I didn't know until after the game. I'll wait till after this pitch. Tyler, obviously from the California area, but he's got a cousin who played with and against Bobby Witt Jr. in high school. He texted him immediately after the game. He goes, "You got to tell him to stop doing that to me. I don't get enough at bats to be stealing hits from me like that." It's funny the connections that these young guys all have and all have played in different places together or know each other already.
Well, tell him to hit it there tonight because he's at shortstop.
I'm sure he's aware. Trust me.
That's the irony that I enjoy is that, you know, talked about Tyler Freeman. He was at third base.
Mm-hmm.
And then the next game he's at shortstop, which is his more natural position.
And then
last night Bobby Witt's at third base, and tonight he's at shortstop, his more natural position.
Right. Yeah, sort of wonder why he's not there every night. Yeah,
I agree.
I mean, I could see at the start of the year when you had Mondesi and things like that, and maybe their thought process is they didn't want the kid. Watch the play. I mean, you're not going to see
Look where he's at
play.
in the throw. Look at this
and
throw.
Fired a seed just to get Freeman. I mean, that was a great play.
That's a Chappie throw right there. I don't see anybody else third base from there.
You might be right, but I'll tell you what, this kid is good. But, I understand they maybe didn't want to move him back and forth because of an injury, but that's your future right there is at short.
No doubt. I'll be shocked if he's not their shortstop going after this year.
He has played short a lot this year. And I think, after this season, right from spring training, he'll be the shortstop, and they'll find a third baseman.
Up the ladder he goes, and strikes him out, 1 down. Injury report brought to you by the attorneys at Elk and Elk.
Ooh, Drury. It's not good for them. He's been one of their most consistent hitters.
He was. You're right. One of their hotter hitters. Castellanos on the softball team over there.
They got another guy. They got a couple guys that hit like him.
Yeah.
Austin Hedges looks at a ball up high. Watching that play that Bobby Witt made last night and the replay of it. The thing that, I don't know why it's stuck in my head, but when you watch him dive and make the stop, and as soon as he goes for the ball in his glove, what I noticed was a handful of dirt that went from his glove with the ball into his hand, and then he still got to get up and make a perfect throw. And I don't know why I remember this. It kind of all clicked in my head. I remember a quote or a story about Honus Wagner. And these are fables, but They sound great.
Yeah.
They said Honus Wagner threw so hard. He was a shortstop. He threw so hard that when he scooped up pebbles with the ball, the pebbles would arrive at the same time that the ball did to the first baseman.
Beautiful. I love it.
Swing and a miss.
You're telling me the pebbles made it all the way from shortstop
Well,
with the ball?
I don't know if Honus Wagner could have thrown any harder than Bobby Witt Jr. Because
There's
that ball,
no way.
I was a frozen rope
Yeah.
across the time.
Cool, Papa Bell. He can beat the light.
Need the light, yeah. Turn the switch off.
That's the same thing.
But we were there. We heard Bob Kendrick's story,
Yes.
and he said it was a faulty light switch. Now the 1-2. Back out of play.
It's funny you say that because when we were playing Baltimore, we both talked about watching Gunner throw it across during warm-ups. This might be the first year where we've paid more attention as a group, the three of us, to batting practice because of Oscar Gonzalez and just the throws that are being made in between innings by these young guys.
New
that can-
generation.
Yeah.
They're
Yeah.
exciting. Well, we've got a few of them. Now the 1-2. A little high.
Okay, there's his take off the changeup right there. Get you in, get a little respect for the inside part of the plate. I'm waiting to see. The first time through, they've already have 3 ground ball outs, only 1 strikeout.
I was going to say, what's the change that you go with?
Well,
You would
it's
move
just-
up on the plate and make him throw it by.
You just got to stay back and look for that pitch more so, and take him up the middle the other way. Okay, that's what you do with the fastball. If you get it, you foul it off, and you make them work, because you don't try to put that in play. If you're going to change your mind and you're going to sit on a changeup, then that's what you have to do to the fastball. Foul it off. And some hitters can't do that, or they don't feel comfortable doing that. But if you can do that, you should have success against this guy, and take his bread and butter away from him. There it was. He missed with it. And I mean, when he has to throw a striker, he wants an out. I would be willing to bet 70% of the time that's going to be his pitch.
The 3-2. And he walked him.
It's good at bat.
Yep.
Worked him over. Hey, I've learned on these StatCast years not to believe every stat that I see that goes across. But I just sent you guys a video, and Murph has it as well. Christian Yelich, they're in Colorado, just supposedly hit a home run 499 feet.
Supposedly?
Well, I don't trust it, but he did hit it to the third deck. That's all I'll say. It's a right field.
He hit that ball a mile high then.
Yeah.
Above the line.
He did.
That's a mile high, Andre.
Oh, that's the longest homer of the year.
That's right.
Well, the one thing I'll say about Chris Bubich tonight, and look, coming in, you're thinking, hey, they hammered him, knocked him out. Didn't even get out of the first inning the first time they saw him this year. He had a start also in April against Seattle where they knocked him out after 2 innings, 5 runs on 7 hits.
Think about how the weather was back then, though. It was freezing cold.
And he comes in 10 losses, a 5.5 ERA, so you're thinking this should be smooth sailing, right? But there are times this year. He had a game against the Astros where he went 5 innings, 5 hits, shutout baseball. Toronto, 7 innings, did not allow an earned run against that Toronto Blue Jays lineup. 7 innings against Tampa, only gave up 2 runs. Last time out against the White Sox, 6 innings, only 2 runs allowed.
There's the changeup for a base hit.
Miles Straw serves it into center field, and Hedges stops at second, so there are 2 on with 1 out. Point being, even though his numbers are ugly, it doesn't mean he can't dial one up every once in a while.
No, that's true. I mean, it's tough to come back from you get off to a slow start, especially when you're a young pitcher. But watch, he kept his hands back and has to reach for it, but hit it to center field. Didn't try to do much with
Strong enough to push it through.
it. You know, so that's good. You get the base hit. But now we'll see if other hitters make their, an adjustment this time through it.
Second time around.
The changeup is a pitch that will a lot of good hitters, fastball hitting teams like Houston, like Toronto. If you
Gives
got a
them
good
trouble.
changeup and
Good
you can
point.
locate it, then they're aggressive. They don't want to walk. I mean, Houston will because they'll foul pitches off, but Toronto they'll swing at everything because they think they can hit everything.
Use the aggression against them is basically what I take from that.
Yeah, you try to. Yes, that's the purpose of it.
I love seeing guys on second base and seeing a left fielder who's not really an outfielder as deep as Melendez is, and third baseman at the cut of the bag.
There he goes, going that way.
He
But
didn't
it's
have to
right
take a step.
Hit it too hard.
Melendez.
You said it last night. When he hits it hard, he gets out.
Yes, you got to change up on him. He didn't have to take a step. That's amazing.
Isn't it?
Well, you see, there you go. You call it.
My bad. But we've watched him get that hit so many times this year, and I'm still
Yeah.
amazed. Third baseman comes in and the outfielder stays back.
Yeah, well, they don't follow the infielders,
That's true, yeah.
Most of those corner guys will come in because they think you may bunt. But Quan doesn't bunt. He's only made a couple of bunts this year.
He's got two.
Yeah,
He's got two hits.
and Jimenez doesn't bunt. The guys don't bunt anymore, period.
Ahmed Rosario, base hit right field.
There's
Coming around third. Austin Hedges won't be able to score. He'll stop. Good throw on one hop from the right fielder. Waters, the bases are loaded with two down.
But look what Rosario did. Stayed on him and goes the other way. That's his bread and butter there.
Tell you what, that's an easy call for Mike Sarbaugh because it's Austin Hedges. If it's anybody else, he's
He
got a
sent
tough
him.
decision.
No doubt.
Well, he would have been aggressive
I think
to
he
try to
would've
get the
sent,
lead.
yeah.
I do too. It's all depends who you have, and that was the catcher, and you can't. And that would have been, you're right, a close call no matter who's out there, because Rosario hit that ball hard.
But this is what you want, though. You get Hosey up with nobody. He's got nowhere to put him. So
I know. The only bad thing is that there's two outs.
Yeah.
Ramirez with the bases loaded takes. Oh man, call him a strike. That's a tough one.
Breaking ball.
Jose, 339 hitter with runners in scoring position on the year. And a base hit in the left field will give him the lead. Hedges scores. Miles Straw, he's coming around as well. And he will score. It is 2-0 Cleveland on a 2-out 2-run single by Jose Ramirez. And he now has 108 runs batted in on the season. He is second in the league only to Aaron Judge of the New York Yankees, and nobody else is even over 90 runs batted in.
Weren't you just saying he didn't have any for a while?
Yeah, 8 games.
8 days, he's back.
Well, he left that ball up in the zone, and Jose takes advantage of it, pulls it in the hole. And here you go, two back-to-back hits with runners in scoring position, although one only took advantage of it. But you get to that number 3 mark, and what do we have, Matt? We've got a pretty good chance of winning the ball game.
Yeah, of course you asked me. And I don't
No,
have
no,
it in
no.
front of me.
Don't know.
Yeah, call him out. Make him get his number.
No. We're
No,
going to
no.
bring it back. We only have 2. You got time till we get our third.
I'll find it here in a second.
And
Take
that
your
may be coming from SpongeBob right here.
You might get more than one in.
You're hoping. Well, they had him on the changeup in his first at bat.
48-2 on the year when they get 3 or more hits with runners in scoring position.
Okay,
Wow.
they only need one more. But I like it. They had the back-to-back here in the third innings. They get the lead again.
And the Tito stat that you told last night, how he likes getting not just the first run, but the second run as well.
Yeah, score first and score next.
Yeah.
That's because that way, even though that game was still up for grabs, it put Kansas City on the. Hey, we got to catch up. We got to come back. You keep
Put
the
him on the
pressure
heels.
on them.
Yeah. Well, and another thing about extra innings, we've talked about this amongst us on the air. I asked Tito last night after we got done talking. We kind of walked out together, and I go, "What do you think about extra innings?" And he goes, "On the road, Andre, you absolutely need 2 runs. 1 is not enough."
Yeah.
Up the ladder, strikes him out to end the inning. But Jose Ramirez, he does it again. A 2-out 2-run single, and the Guardians have the lead.
Well, the Family Value Pack will expand from all Sunday games to include all Saturday games in the final month of the season. Families can get 4 tickets and $40 in loaded value to spend on merchandise or concessions, all for just $80 for seats in the family deck.
Michael Massey leading off for Kansas City. And Cleveland with a 2-0 lead. Shane Bieber gave up back-to-back hits in the second inning, but it got a double play ball to get out of it.
Yeah, that was his 14th ground ball double play this year, and that came at the perfect time.
Swing and a miss. He struck him out. First K for Shane Bieber. 1 down here in the third.
There's a little curveball that started low and finished lower, and he got him to chase it.
Justin Masterson, that's how the cookie crumbles. He moves ahead of him into 19th place all time on the franchise strikeout list. You know, I asked Tito before the game about Shane Bieber, Rick, if it's simply a matter of experience. Austin Hedges needs a new PitchCom device. If it's a matter of experience for Shane Bieber, that he's getting stronger as we come down the stretch. His last 7 starts, the ERA's under 2. And he really believes it's more, it's not so much experience, but it's just the work he puts in that no one sees. You know, what you do between every start and what he does in the offseason to prepare himself. And it's like, what do we talk about? Stacking bricks, right? You stack one day on top of the next, and eventually you get to this point in the season, instead of wearing down, you're maintaining that strength, and that's why he's just going out there and dominating.
And it's been handed down watching the Corey Klubers and everyone else, and that was what I love about it, because it's true. You know, Josh Tomlin was another guy that worked really hard, and that was one of the first guys they had him watch. Back in 16, they watched the routines of Kluber, of Tomlin, and that's who these guys have become. And just like, you got to work in between your starts just as hard. Arch, what I wanted to ask you is, you know, because
swing and a miss.
We always talk about, you know, being excited when Bieber's on the mound. For us and for the guys in this dugout, when they know he's pitching, they get up and they're ready to go because they know they got a good chance to win. What is that like as an offensive player?
Punched him out. Back-to-back Ks.
Knowing you got one of your best or your best on the mound that night.
Well, you're just ready to go, man, on every pitch. You know, I think Quantrill is getting that respect now. And I think Tristan's going to start getting it a lot more now, because he goes out and throws strikes and you're ready for it. That's what you want to do as a starter, man.
Well, you and I talked about this a few years ago when we revisited the 1981 season. That pitching staff, you had some lethality there. You had Len Barker and you had Bert Blyleven. You probably had a good feeling on certain nights when you went out there. Hey, we got a great chance to win tonight.
You got a really good chance to win. You know, yes. So you don't make mistakes. You want to get out there and let's go. Yeah, you just got a belief that you're going to win.
And in sports, that's huge.
It sure is.
Especially at this level, when you can get on the bus or you come to the game and you're like, we got a good chance to win.
You know, but even when the good guys get out on the mound, there's days where you look out and you say, okay, he's got to struggle. He's got a battle to win today. You know, because if you play behind him and you see it,
you know
that he's not on his game. So you may have to do something a little more for him to help him out that day, and you can see that when you're an everyday player.
Well, I loved what Raj told us the other night. Raj A. Davis visited with us, and having that PitchCom device gives you maybe a step. You know, maybe it's an extra step advantage. Oh, I know this is going to be a breaking ball, so I'm going to move over this way.
Yeah,
those little things mean a lot,
Little things mean a lot in this game. They sure do. That's why you learn something every day. And you got to incorporate it, and there's going to be times when you do it, and there's going to be times when you don't, and it's always the little things that beat you in this game. You're going to go out there and you're going to get pounded maybe 8-10 times on the course of the year.
Swung out and missed. How about Shane Bieber? They hand him a 2-0 lead. And he goes out and carves up Kansas City with 3 consecutive strikeouts in the bottom of the 3rd inning. Well, Shane Bieber, another milestone. 800 strikeouts now in his career. Only Yu Darvish got there faster.
That's pretty impressive, man, when you think about it. 108 starts, 800 strikeouts.
Didn't have a strikeout in the first 2 innings and then goes out and punches out the side.
Yeah, but he can get on a roll.
Well, he ended up with 11 strikeouts his last time out,
Right.
and you're right. It's like he can be going along, and then all of a sudden,
When it
it's
kicks
4,
in,
5, 6 out of 7, and all
yeah.
the next thing you
yeah,
know.
that second or third time through, he gets locked in. And it seems like he does get stronger as the game goes on.
Andres Jimenez hit by a pitch his first time up. That ties him for the league lead. But more importantly, 7th overall in batting average, hitting .301. He's been dynamite in the clutch, hitting over .350 with runners in scoring position. You know, you had a great observation. I got to give you credit. I really liked our pregame conversation at dinner tonight when you said, imagine if Jimenez had just batted 5th all year.
Yeah.
Or even 4th, who knows? I mean, think
Put
about
him
how
in the
many,
fourth
how
slot.
many more runs batted in he would, just because of the way he has hit with runners in scoring position and
telling
hit
you.
left-handers and right-handers.
He would have 80 by now if he stayed in that position. Yes, he did. He would. Just the style. This guy can be that guy. You don't think so because he's a second baseman and he can get on base. But I'll tell you what, he can generate some pop. You know, he has the doubles there. He's got 23. He's got 15 dingers. Yeah, he's fine for this team. We don't hit homers anyway, so just get him up there with men on base.
Well, think about just recently. And I know you can't. Owen Miller sends one to left, but didn't get into it, all of it. And Melendez able to get back and make the catch. And that's going to be out number 1. Think about Baltimore recently. I forget the name of the guy they had hitting cleanup. It was
Let me think.
not a lot of home runs, though. Not a guy
Someone
you would think.
behind Santander. Good call.
Blank City.
Doesn't matter. Well,
But you know, my point is that it's not always the obvious candidate.
it wasn't Mountcastle, was it?
No. It was. This is terrible.
No,
We
it's
just
good.
played
This is
3
good.
days ago. My goodness.
Was it the third baseman?
Fly ball.
Oh yeah,
center field.
Urias.
Urias.
That's right.
Urias.
Yeah.
You couldn't pronounce his name, could you? Or you would have said it.
Shut up. And I mean it.
But I mean, think about it. If you looked at everybody on the Orioles roster and said pick out who you
Right.
think's batting cleanup, he wouldn't be in your top 3 or 4 guesses.
A
Probably.
lot of lineups
Who
are
hit
like
the
that
home
now.
run though to give him the lead and win a
He
game
did.
for him?
Opposite
He
field
did.
shot.
Yes, he did.
Yeah.
He took a fastball the other way.
Well, that was partly because Mountcastle had been in that big slump coming
Yes,
into Cleveland.
and they
as
moved
well.
him out of
moved
the
him
spot.
down, right. But, I mean, look at a lot of lineups don't have the normal, what we would believe would be a cleanup
So
hitter.
true. So true.
I mean, I'm looking at the Blue Jays lineup tonight. Alejandro Kirk hasn't been batting cleanup for most of the year. When you think of the Blue Jays, you don't think of that guy as a cleanup
No, he was
hitter.
hitting third the last time we saw him.
That's right. Well, now Bichette, because he's hot's hitting third.
Yeah, and you know what? They're losing by 2 now.
I know. Baltimore came back on him.
Yankees and Twins, by the way, if you haven't heard, they were rained out. That game was
No way.
it was rained out early.
That's
They
a
didn't
shock.
wait around at
Why
all.
won't they let them sit around 4.5 hours?
No. So they're going to play a doubleheader tomorrow and then getaway game on Thursday night.
But it's a night game, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So good for the Twins.
Austin Hedges drew a 1-out walk. That started the rally in the 3rd inning. Foul. Might have cracked his bat, hit off the end. Let's see. He's going to check it. Nope. Or yes, yeah, he sure did. Yeah.
He's picking something
Yeah,
up
something,
off the
yeah.
ground.
Oh yeah, big chunk of it.
Yeah, maybe a cupped end where a piece of it came off the end. Either that or some cork that fell out.
Hey. You really might have to be quiet. You're trying to get people in trouble, man.
They don't use that anymore.
You don't think so?
No.
What makes you so confident?
I'll tell you later.
Good thing I'm not riding home with you two today.
Now the 1-2 up high. Austin Hedges now 11 walks, 19 hits, 10 runs batted in his last 32 ball games.
Bubic only walked one, and that was Hedges his last time up, and he ended up coming around to score the first run.
Slow hook, but it hung high.
See, that's the pitch that's not consistent for him, is that breaking ball. You know, when he comes in. So, in a way, you turn him into a two-pitch pitcher. And if you can take if you're right-handed, take that changeup, his good pitch away from him. Now you're forcing him to do something he doesn't like to do, and that's throw his fastball more.
Jimenez will be off on the 3-2 pitch. And a pop-up on the infield. The first baseman, Prado, makes the catch. And we'll move to the bottom of the fourth. 2-0 Cleveland. Northern Ohio Buick dealer stat. Rookies with 20 homers, 20 steals. Bobby Witt Jr. and Julio Rodriguez. The last time it happened, 2 rookies in the same year. Ellis Burks, our man, and Devo, Devon White.
Yeah. Yes, indeed. That's impressive.
He's the 5th Kansas City Royal to have a 2020 season. The first, my man, Amos Otis.
Yeah, AO.
1978.
Yeah. AO.
Shane Bieber back to work. Bobby Witt Jr. drives one to center field, and Miles Straw takes care of that one away. And we'll get a word here from Spectrum Mobile.
Spectrum Mobile has the best deal in mobile. 2+ lines of unlimited for just $29.99 each. Switch and save up to 60%. Visit SpectrumMobile.com.
Rick, we had a stat last night when Josh Naylor hit that home run for Cleveland. I believe it was 12 of his 17 home runs have either tied or given Cleveland the lead. Salvador Perez, you don't think about it necessarily how clutch he has been for Kansas City, but 208 of his runs batted in have either tied the game or given the Royals the outright lead.
Boy, sitting right in the middle part of that lineup.
That's 8th most in Royals franchise history.
And this has always been a team. They don't hit a lot of home runs because of the ballpark they play in, you know, so you need hits, you know, to score runs and produce them. And he's been big, and this guy,
it's a big fly, and the park's not big enough to hold it.
That's what I'm talking about. He's got power anywhere you go, and comes right back and puts one into their bullpen for a home run.
His 20th of the year. Gets Kansas City on the board, cuts the Cleveland lead in half.
You know, and that is not easy to do. Stay on that baseball and drive it deep into the, you know, right field corner there.
Because as you said, first time up, that open stance, he couldn't get to it. He got it off the end of the bat. What's different this time?
Well, let's look. You see, he was in on it. The first time he was open a little bit, this front shoulder. This time it was a little closed, and it enabled him. He could extend his swing, and he's strong enough to hit it that far. So home run number 20, and it's the 15th that Bieber's given up.
And Rosario held on to a little bit of a snow cone, but he retires Nick Prado, 2 down. That's the 6th time now that Salvador Perez has hit 20 home runs in a season. And that's impressive when you do that for a franchise that historically doesn't have guys that hit a lot of home runs on a yearly basis.
Up until I'd say maybe between 5 and 10 years ago, their largest number was 36.
And that was Steve Balboni.
Yeah, he did it, and one other guy did. I think it was who was the third baseman that used to. Well,
and then Mike Sweeney, he was a pretty good power guy.
Yes.
Came along, and then of course they got into their most recent run of success. They had some guys that could knock it around the yard. To third base, off the glove of Freeman, and he cannot recover, not with Michael Taylor running. And he's 2 for 2 tonight.
Well, we were talking about Freeman being a natural shortstop. Hasn't played many games at third. This is one of those plays where did a beautiful job to get there, and he just didn't hold on to it. He was looking for it. You got to catch it cleanly. You have time, but he's not comfortable there yet. He did everything in his power to knock it down. He did a good job. It'll still go as a base hit.
He played 3 games at third base this year at AAA, and I believe he played 7 last year. In the minor leagues.
It may be a case for him. And even with Michael Taylor hitting, have you ever seen him bunt before, Taylor? No. I haven't. So,
man. He took off, and Bieber, somebody said, hey, he's going, and he just stepped off, turned, and threw him out to end the inning. So he's out trying to steal. Royals get on the board on the homer by Salvi Perez. It's 2-1 Guardians through 4 in Kansas City. Your local Cadillac dealers and Union Home Mortgage. Promises kept. 2-1 Guardians lead it, 5th inning. And Miles Straw will lead off for Cleveland. He singled and scored in the 3rd inning. Miles now has hit in 3 of his last 4 games and is 3 for 5 in this series. One ball, 1 strike. And that one all the way to the backstop. Chris Bubich was a supplemental 1st-round pick. 2019 out of Stanford. The 2-2 pitch. Fouled back. In off the plate and a full count. Top of the order, Stephen Kwan coming up next. Straw with a base hit to straightaway center field in the third. Fouls a 3-2 pitch back to the screen. Hits are even at 4 apiece. The first of those 4 hits, courtesy of Myles Straw. And this one will be fielded cleanly by Bobby Witt. 1 down. Let's go back to that third inning. Our Spectrum Mobile replay. Myles Straw, after Austin Hedges had walked with 1 out, just lined one into straightaway center field, and then after Stephen Kwan flied out, Ahmed Rosario shot one the other way. That loaded the bases. And with 2 outs, Jose Ramirez knocked in a pair.
Yeah, it was beautiful watching those last 2 hits because Rosario got a breaking ball away. You could tell he was going to right field all the way, and he got a pitch up to Ramirez, and he pulled it in the hole between short and third.
Stephen Kwan brought a 4-game hitting streak into tonight's action. He's also picked up a hit in 21 of his last 24 road games. Out of play. 1-1.
Yeah, he came into this game. He's played 8 games in this ballpark. He's hit in 7 of them. At a 484 clip, 15 for 31, 5 extra base hits, 5 ribbies. So he has certainly loved this ballpark to hit in.
Tell you what, from now on, if he or Straw get into a slump, we should tell them we're in Kansas City. Both of them hit well here.
That's in foul ground. Nobody's going to get there.
You know, it's funny because, Matt, you were with us yesterday talking to Tito about certain parks and guys hitting better at certain ones. And I can't use all the words he used, but he said, Rick, in Houston, no, he said he hit well in Houston. Where was the park that he said he hated? Detroit.
He said Detroit, it felt like he was lined up
He
wrong.
was lined up wrong. He said,
you know, then he said there are just some parks where you just don't feel good in the batter's box. And then there are some, he said, in the Astrodome, everybody hated the Astrodome. He goes, I loved it. I just saw the ball really well there.
Yeah.
He said it's different for everybody, but, you know, you just got to figure out the ones you're good at and take advantage of it.
That is true, and sometimes you just hit well against certain teams, and other ones you can't buy a hit.
But we talk so often about how much of this game is mental. And when you know, even if you're a rookie, that you've had really good ball games here at Kauffman Stadium, you can't wait to get to the yard every day.
Yeah.
Right. Kind of like us on the way here every.
Can't wait to get here.
So, when do we come back after this trip?
Not till next year.
Only twice.
2-2. Slap foul the other way.
Does a nice job of just fouling that pitch off. That was borderline. He wasn't sure.
There's a line drive toward left, but Melendez will make the catch, and there are 2 away. Ahmed Rosario, 1 out of 2. Chased one down low, inside corner maybe.
Yeah, he came down with a good low fastball there. It was well located.
And he chased one and strikes out. Guardians go 1-2-3. Halfway through, 2-1 Cleveland.
To include Friday and Saturday games for the rest of the regular season. All college students who are registered with a student bean can purchase $10 upper bleachers or upper reserve tickets for any remaining home game. There is a limit of 8 tickets per game, and transactions cannot be combined with any other offers or discounts.
Ryan O'Hearn leading off for Kansas City here, bottom of the 5th inning. O'Hearn with a single in the 2nd. And a one-hopper to Rosario. With the shift on, he'll throw him out. We'll go to Al Pawlowski back in Cleveland with a Ken Ganley Kia game break. Is that like 387 feet in the normal ballpark?
No, I'm just going to say he hit it a mile high.
He spanked it.
Look at how scorned we are. I didn't believe it when I heard it and saw it. Now you guys are saying the same thing. He did hit it a mile high.
Well,
Arch.
we didn't get a look at it.
I
So
sent it to you. Check your phone.
Well, my phone's too small. I want it on a big screen.
Can you find it?
Yes.
I was
Yeah,
worried
but-
about you when we left Sunday.
But on Rick's phone, you can't see where it landed. It went off the screen.
Went off the screen because you got those big type letters on it.
My font's a little big.
Yeah, little. That's right.
We're going to miss 1 and 2.
When we were in Seattle, we couldn't watch stuff on your phone. We were trying to find the game.
Bardo fixed it.
Thank God.
He had to put the hen 10 up on his phone.
I needed you to hold it.
Hey, you know, we were mentioning how these young kids that we're watching in warm-ups now and how much we love watching their arm strength. Your guy, Matt, in Pittsburgh is who we got to see. I had a buddy that texted me that went and saw O'Neill Cruz, and he said that watch that guy in warm-ups and you'll be blown away. As he was texting me that or sending me that message, O'Neill Cruz just hit one out of the stadium in Pittsburgh against the Mets, against Tommy Hunter.
Well, that's trouble. Deep in the alley. Miles Straw back makes the catch on the warning track for out number 2. And it wasn't his life that flashed before his eyes. It was Stephen Kwan.
Now watch those two right now. Keep it on those two.
Yeah, he got some air underneath it. That allowed Straw to take he was playing him in right center field, but a little too high and to the big part of the yard. He catches it on the track.
Archie made that look easier than what it is.
Oh, yeah, there's no doubt.
Please explain to people how far he ran and how tough a catch
Well,
that
that's
really
what a
is.
center fielder does. I mean, you want to have a little air under the ball, and you can, I mean, you feel you can catch just about anything if it stays in the yard. And I mean, that's the frustrating thing about hitting in this park every day. If you're a hitter and you hit balls like that, you think it's extra bases, or it may be off walls in other ballparks. It could be just a routine out here.
Say this for Miles Straw. Offensively, yeah, he's had his struggles this year, but defensively, I can't recall him ever taking it out into the field with him.
No, he has
mean,
not.
He's always focused out there. He's always talking to Kwan or to Gonzalez and making sure that they're lined up where they need to be, or, hey, we're going to shift over for this kind of hitter.
And, Matt, honestly, that's somewhat been the frustrating thing for the coaching staff. Not that he does that, but they just want to be able to get him to do the same thing offensively and give them, because they see something in him. DeMarlo Hill kind of said to me today, his job as a coach is to get the best out of each guy, and they want to get the best both sides from him because they know he's got it.
A 1-2-3 inning for Shane Bieber. We've played 5 in Kansas City, and the Guardians lead it 2-1. Comes your way tomorrow night, 7:30. First pitch around 8 o'clock in the series finale for the Guardians and the Royals. Zach Greinke off the injured list goes for Kansas City, and Cody Morris will make his second major league start for Cleveland. Jose Ramirez leading off the 6th inning. And he takes a curveball for a strike. Jose, a 2-out, 2-run single in the 3rd, accounting for the Guardians' only runs tonight. But Shane Bieber has made it stand up to this point. High pop, right center. In comes Waters. Look out. He makes the catch, and Massey had to duck and get out of the way quickly. And we'll get a word now from Kia.
Presenting Kia's lineup of exceptionally capable all-wheel drive SUVs.
Going to tail of 2 at-bats. It was change-ups basically the first time up. The last time up when he got him to strike out, it was all fastballs. And now first pitch comes back with a change-up in his 3rd at-bat.
Fastball popped him up. Right field. Waters again. 2 down. That's 8 straight set down by Chris Bubich. And Andres Jimenez to the plate. He singled his last time up. That's the last Guardian to reach.
Yeah, he's losing 2-1. He must put zeros up there. Going up against Shane Bieber. Yeah, he settled down. They were able to get him when they got to 2 outs, a couple of hits to get their 2 runs in.
White Sox Mariners are underway in Seattle. Chicago began the night just 2 games back in the AL Central. A little low. Ball 1. Twins rained out in New York. They'll play a doubleheader tomorrow. One-0 pitch is a little high. And a foul back out of play. The 2-2. Another foul back.
Well, he's doing a nice job to stay alive. He was hitting his first at bat. He singled in his second. And putting up another good at bat here. Bubich getting to the end of the line here. This will be pitch number 89.
Off the foot of Jimenez, and he'll take a walk.
He has not gone 100 pitches on the year. So this is about tops. 98 against that game you were talking about in Houston that he pitched. He's been in the 90s a few times. I think 99 is going to be his highest. He's done that a couple of times, but he's coming to the end.
Line to right. Down the line it goes. Jimenez on his way to second base. He's going to have to hurry. He puts on the brakes. I don't know what he was trying to do there. He was a dead duck.
You know, he realized I was going to get caught. That was a good play over there by Waters and right. He got it into his cutoff man, and he got caught in the middle and nowhere's land.
It looked like he wanted to stop and realized, well, I can't really stop now.
Yeah, I can't believe he kept that pitch fair. But he did, and right there he should have stopped, and he said, oh no. And then he tried to decoy him and get into second, so he'll be thrown out.
Positioned perfectly, and Drew Waters is retired for out number 1.
Once again, Shane Bieber settled in nicely in this ballpark. Didn't have a strikeout in the first 2 innings, struck out the side in the second. That's what he has is 3, but they've been after him early. Got a big double play ball when he needed it. The only blemish on his card is the Perez solo homer in the 4th inning to get them on the board. But he has been on target tonight. He's only at 60 pitches right now. You're in the 6th inning. That's unbelievable. They've been a little more aggressive than normal, knowing he's throwing strikes early and often.
MJ Melendez. 0 for 2 tonight. And he pulls that one foul. MJ Melendez. One of the promising young rookies on this Royals ball club. Kansas City, I told you last night, Cleveland, the youngest team in baseball, and Kansas City right behind them. Kansas City has used 21 rookies this year. Now, that doesn't mean they've made their major league debut, but they still have rookie status. They used a franchise record 25 rookies back in 1999 under then manager Tony Muser. Cleveland, their franchise record also 25 back in 1991 when John McNamara started the season and Mike Hargrove eventually became the manager. And that was right when they were starting to turn the corner. It was still a couple of years away, but some of the pieces were in place. Albert Bell that year had 28 home runs.
Sandy was intact.
22-year-old Carlos Baerga had his first full season in the big. Sandy Alomar. Charlie Nagy, first full season in the majors. So, again, he didn't make his debut that year. He debuted the year before, but he was still a rookie in 1991. Well, that's the first walk issued by Shane Bieber here in inning number 6. And that's the tying run. Jogging down to first base, and now you've got Bobby Witt Jr. coming to the plate. From what we've seen, Rick, Bobby Witt Jr. is not the kind of guy who is going up there looking for the perfect pitch. And he's a guy that, you know, if he sees a pitch out over the plate he can drive, he's going to take a hack at it.
He took a nice swing on his last at-bat to deep center field. When this guy hits him, though, I'm going to tell you something. He smokes him. He averages about 420 a home run, 425, something like that. He's got a lot of pop in that bat.
Yeah, that's why I'm not surprised Bieber started him on a slider right there. And he popped him up. A cut fastball maybe. Ahmed Rosario goes out to grab it. It's either another slider or a cutter. Sometimes hard to tell the difference between the two. .800 strikeout mark tonight. He struck out 3 in a row. He didn't have a strikeout before the 3rd inning. Punched out the side. Doesn't have a strikeout since.
They've been hacking. They've been swinging.
Kansas City's only run came on a Salvador Perez homer in the 4th. He shot one out of here into the Kansas City bullpen to right field.
Should they start going in on him, Arch, since he's hit both the pitches he's hit have been to right field?
Yeah, but Bieber doesn't pitch in a lot.
Right. So how do you change what's happened knowing that he made a change in his second at bat by closing up a little bit, shooting it to right?
Well, he did on that one. He stayed on it. There was nobody on, and
Pitch was up, though, fastball.
Mm-hmm.
It was an easy pitch for him to just kind of stay behind and drive that way. He gets that pitch down like that, he's not going to do any damage with it.
yeah, watch where the location of this pitch is here. See, it was
Didn't
about
have to bend down.
It was about belt high, so you could see it was easy for him to reach out and get it. If he's going to go out there, just keep it down.
But in that situation, it's a lot like Tito talks about Jose Ramirez, how smart these guys are and how they know what you're trying to do to them. We say he's ultra aggressive, but Salvi has a pretty good idea of what teams are trying to do against him.
Well, that's why if Bieber makes a mistake, you see it's down. And if he wants to go after it and hit it, it's only going to be maybe a base hit the other way. You elevate it, you get yourself in trouble.
Only George Brett has hit 20 or more homers in the season more times than Salvador Perez. Swing and a miss. It's 2-2.
Does he have the patience to wait for his pitch? That's the key. And I think that's what Bieber's preying on. He wants to do it right now. It doesn't look like he wants to take a walk.
Bounced one and Hedges with a terrific block to keep Melendez down there at first base.
Well, he'll be off with the pitch.
DeMarlo Hill was telling me before the game, he goes, the two things they cheer about in the dugout more than anything else is when their catchers make a good stop like that and when guys go first to third. He goes, because we've preached to this team the importance of 90 feet, and we want guys to know that.
Swing and a miss. He struck him out, and that's the 4th strikeout tonight for Shane Bieber, his first since the 3rd inning. 6 complete from Kauffman Stadium. It remains Cleveland 2, Kansas City 1. Cleveland Guardians baseball brought to you by Chevrolet, the #1 selling family of SUVs in the Cleveland area. And by Spectrum Mobile. Switch and save with Spectrum Mobile. Nationwide 5G included. Restrictions apply. Visit SpectrumMobile.com. 7th inning here in Kansas City. It's the Guardians 2 and the Royals 1. 6, 7, 8 hitters due up for Cleveland. Owen Miller will lead it off. He's 0 for 2 tonight. Chris Bubic has pitched a fine ball game for KC. He had one bad inning where Cleveland jumped him. He walked a batter and then gave up 3 hits over the span of 4 batters, and they knocked in 2 runs. Since then, he has only allowed 2 singles, both to Andres Gimenez, the second of which he was thrown out trying to advance. Called out looking. 4th strikeout for Bubic. 1 down here in the 7th. And we'll get a word right here from Rally House.
Play ball, Cleveland. Shop the latest in Guardian style with your favorite brands and throwback designs. Rally House has gear for every fan.
Tyler Freeman 0 for 2 tonight. Last night he was right in the middle of it. 1 for 4. His first big league RBI on a sacrifice fly. Scored a run. Tito said every game we can get Tyler Freeman into the lineup and get him out there. He said, and I love this quote, Bouncing ball to first. He's going to hustle down the line.
Gonna beat
and
it
they're
out.
not going to get him. Freeman beats it out. He's got an infield single.
Yeah, the game started like this where they were able to get Quan at first base. I thought Quan was going to beat him to the bag. And you watch with the first baseman this time way off the line. He had to make this play, but you can see Bubic didn't get there. And as a base runner, you get down the line and you hustle, and that's going to do it. But he left the ball out over the plate. He thought about it. He looked instead of breaking when you see the ball that way, and that's going to do it for him.
Tito said every time we get Tyler Freeman in the game, every time he gets a chance to play, it's like putting money in the bank. And it's an investment in your future. Getting him experience, getting him playing time, and watching him take advantage of it. It's been fun. Chris Bubic, his night is over after 6 1/3 innings. We've got a timeout in Kansas City. Guardians lead it 2-1. The new pitcher for Kansas City is right-hander Jose Cuas. Cuas was born in the Dominican Republic, went to high school in Brooklyn, was drafted out of high school by the Toronto Blue Jays, but said no thank you. He went to the University of Maryland, and then the Brewers drafted him in the 11th round back in 2015. But he's bounced around Milwaukee, Arizona, and then signed as a free agent with Kansas City. Kind of a funky right-handed pitcher.
Yeah, and he will walk you. You got to make him get in the zone.
Austin Hedges walked and scored in the 3rd.
Cuas has walked 20 in his 33 innings. So you just have to make sure he gets in the strike zone. Don't help him out. Don't chase.
He chased. Chased again. Cuas 28 years old. And how about that on a 1-2 pitch? Austin Hedges stays inside the ball, bangs it through the hole, and Freeman goes all the way to 3rd.
I'll tell you what, he chased 2 sliders that were out of the strike zone, and they come back and they tried to sneak a fastball by him. And I'll tell you what, he does what you have to do, stayed on it, and it was right down the middle low. And
look at Salvador Perez.
Yeah,
watch
just
him
put
drop
his head down.
Like, oh man,
what are we doing there? You know, he wanted it in off the plate, maybe not for a strike, but he finds the hole. Now you've got some action and a chance to add on to a 2-1 lead.
This is where they were good last night. Executing fundamentals, do the little things, get him home from 3rd.
Think about what Hedges did last night in this situation. 1st and 3rd, squeeze play. So, you know, it was a safety squeeze, and he brought a run home, and it was a beautiful thing.
If you've done that once to a team, is the element of surprise gone, or
no? It's not, because nobody bunts it.
You can't really defend it anyway if
you
you execute
can.
it.
If you put it on the ground, you can't get the guy coming from 3rd base.
The 3rd baseman is in.
It doesn't matter. You go to 1st.
Right.
You got to bunt to 1st base.
Yeah. Now they're bringing everybody in. It's funny though. Tito and the coaching staff have cringed that every time someone's brought up that it was a safety squeeze last night. He was pushed by a reporter last night, and he goes, "Well, I'm not going to tell you our secrets because we don't." He wouldn't say it. He goes, Mike Sarvo does a great job of communicating to our players, is all he would say. He would not say it was a squeeze of any sort.
Because he didn't put it on. It was done by Hedges on his own.
Here you go.
Popped to our right field, near the line, into foul ground. Waters dives, can't make the play. And I'm not sure what Tyler Freeman was
what's
doing.
Freeman?
He's got to be 3/4 of the way down the line.
He's got to be back on the bag. If he catches that in foul territory, he wouldn't have been able to tag up.
Sarby just was telling him.
Well, it's too late now.
Right.
He's got to know that before you go.
Look at this walk and talk to him right now.
I mean, he thought that ball was going to stay fair. You can see it wasn't going to be fair. You got to get back to the bag and stay there. What's he doing?
Matt, what was the quote you used when they went to the bullpen?
It's
It's all learning experience.
It's like putting money in the
Yeah.
bank. You're investing, but
Whoa. Stock's down now. I'll tell you what, you've got to stay there on any ball in the air going the other way.
one ball and 2 strikes on Miles Straw. And that one backed up on him, almost hit him. 2-2.
Straw's pulled the ball the last 2 days here. If he can pull it through this hole on the left side.
Well, you're thinking he's going to get that slider
Away,
away,
right.
you know, and try and get him to chase it.
Well, with the infield in, he's got a lot of holes, more than usual.
2 strikes, got to put it in play. And most likely on the ground. But how about this? A soft liner to center that will drop. Freeman will score. Hedges stops at second. It's 3-1 Cleveland, and Miles Straw for the second night in a row has a multi-hit game. And he's driven in a run in each game.
That was a slider away. It was up there for a strike, and what he does, he gets enough of it, and it helps him pull the ball a little bit more. He just stays back and serves it into center field. The execution of Quasta's pitches have been something to be desired here. The fastball after he had Hedges down in the count. He had 2 strikes on Straw, but they all come out with hits, so it's 3 consecutive hits. It's a 3-1 ball game.
Fouled back. And that's up high. Kansas City's bullpen has not been much better than their starters. They are ranked dead last in Major League Baseball in bullpen ERA. Kwan, he went fishing and chased one. He strikes out.
That is a rarity right there. Rarely do you see him go out of the strike zone with 2 strikes, and this one way off the plate.
So 2 down and Ahmed Rosario to the plate. 1 for 3 with a single. That came in the 3rd when he just stayed on the ball and shot it into right field. Popped up, back out of play. Guardians lead it by 2. But after 3 consecutive singles here in the 7th inning, the hope was maybe you could open this thing up a little bit. But here again, you know, I mean, look, you know who this team is. You know their identity. You know what they're all about. 8 hits, all singles.
Yeah, and the bottom part of the lineup has done the dirty work, man. They've scored all 3 runs, 7, 8, and 9.
High in the air, left center field, and Taylor runs it down. Stretch time in Kansas City. The Guardians add 1 to their lead. Freeman Hedges, Straw, all with singles. And ultimately, it's Tyler Freeman who scores on the Miles Straw base hit. 3-1 Guardians. Medical Mutual, 5-star report. Unfortunately, a team that really was very good defensively for much of the season. There have been a few lackluster performances of late, whether it's fatigue and lack of focus, whatever the case may be. They fumbled it and kicked it around here a lot lately. And you want to be playing your best defense to go along with that pitching coming down the stretch with the added importance of each and every game, right?
Well, yes, and errors are part of this game for everybody. You know, it's gonna happen. You're gonna make them, but you cannot give teams extra outs in this game because it comes back to bite you. You know, the unearned runs or the extra outs in an inning, you give teams a little life. 27 outs is enough to get. You can do a good job doing that. Yeah, you got to tighten it up and stay tight, especially when your pitching is so good and you're not scoring runs.
Big inning here for Shane Bieber. He leads 3-1. Struck him out. Look at that's a low dart right at the bottom of the zone, and Nick Prado could not pull the trigger. Strikeout number 5 for Bieber.
Yeah, watch this one. Stays right at the knees and it just holds its ground. You see so many breaking balls down there and you figure, oh man, that thing's not going to be a fastball, but it is, and it's a dandy. Plenty of plate right at the knees.
Right when you're when you're a hitter and you've seen that ball at the knees drop into the dirt, you chased it. He's like, I'm not doing that again.
Right, I'm not chasing that pitch. That's
like,
boom. You know how we always talk about the high fastball to take you off something, you know, the breaking stuff. That low fastball can also benefit you when you throw the breaking stuff like Bieber does.
Michael Taylor with a fly ball to center field, and Miles Straw makes the catch. 2 down. You know what's funny about that play right there? There are a lot of guys that would hit a ball like that, and maybe for a second or two they're thinking, did I get enough of that? Is that deep enough? Because Michael Taylor plays center field every day and he knows how deep that is. As soon as he swung, he put his head down and just started.
Yeah, you know.
He knew. There's no chance.
That's his home park. Exactly right. You know it's an out.
And he hit it well. I mean, Miles Straw had to go back on it. It's not like it was just a routine pop-up. But, man, you forget. And that's, again, go back to last night. That ball that Oscar Gonzalez hit.
There's another can of corn.
Straw drifting back onto the front part, not even quite to the warning track. 9 pitches. Shane Bieber sets him down 1-2-3. Presented by authority of the Cleveland Guardians and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Cleveland Guardians.
Oh, the dog's having fun in the park tonight. One taking a bath. Look at that.
That can't be a dog.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah.
That's a human in a costume.
Well, we're going to have a new pitcher, and it's going to be Brad Keller coming on for Kansas City. Now, this is a guy that has made 22 starts for them. He's now in the bullpen. Mike Matheny announced he was going to put him out there August 17th. And he's pitched to a 12 ERA, 8 earnings in his 6 innings so far. But this is a guy, when he started, had the worst run support in all of baseball. Behind him was Plesac.
Jose Ramirez with a fly ball to right field. Waters back, and he'll make the catch. 1 down. Rick, you know, if you're Dayton Moore and the Kansas City Royals, we've talked a lot about their young players, a lot like Cleveland. They're athletic, there's energy, there's some power. There's a lot to like about their everyday lineup. Kansas City going into the offseason, they've got to turn their attention to how do we get better as a pitching staff. And I'm not talking about just starters or just bullpen. Collectively,
Yeah.
they don't have enough pitching to give them opportunities to win on a consistent basis right now.
Yes, and you know what? It goes. Their bullpen can come in and look good one night, and consistency's not there. You know, they may walk too many hitters and they give up a few different things. But man, to be consistent, you've got to have the guys that you can count on. You need that closer at the back end, and that sets everything else up. And they have some work to do, and it's not easy to go find pitching.
Remember the story we had last year? What was it, 2017 draft, I believe? Where they went out and got Singer and then another kid from Florida.
Oh, the 18
The 18 draft.
Yeah,
I'm sorry. That was
right.
our whole conversation last year about them, and those guys have not
Just hasn't
panned
panned
out.
And not like they expected, because
No.
it doesn't happen quickly.
No, well, remember they were trying to go off of what the Guardians did.
Yes.
They were trying to have the same thing at the Plesac, Bieber. They thought they had this, and Savali, they thought they had the same thing, and hasn't worked out that way. And showed you how
Well, you got to have a plan B then, too.
you need a plan B, C, and D when it comes to pitching in the
Yeah,
big leagues.
no kidding.
I mean, even this guy, he was the opening day starter.
Well, I
Wasn't he?
mean, look, and this is my point. Like, if you go into the offseason, if you're in that position for Kansas City, they're last in the league in starters ERA, last in the league in relief ERA. They're last in the league in opponents' batting average, and they're last in the league in walks.
Wow.
Allowed.
That's a lot to overcome.
You ain't lying. And remember their whole slogan in the
Yes.
offseason, first pitch? That's a hit.
There's
Line
another
drive
double.
left field. Oscar Gonzalez hammered down. He's rolling towards second. He'll go in there easily with a one-out double, their first extra base hit of the night.
It's not an Oscar game without a double.
No, I'm thinking this guy's going to be a 40 double guy, I think, consistently, because he uses the whole field. He got to pitch up and in, and he turns on it. That's an
Did you
automatic
see Salvi?
double.
Did you see Salvi when he swung that? He almost flinched, thought he was going to get hit.
How about of his 22 doubles, Redbirds has 10 of them have come from the 7th inning on.
Wow.
Yeah, he's special.
This guy wants a third hit, and he's still mad about what happened on his last hit, so this should be a fun
Well,
at-bat.
he's got another 2 hits tonight. He's 2 for 2, also been hit.
Of course.
So this would be a perfect time to add one more on, and that would really demoralize the Royals.
Beautiful thing is Bieber's pitch count is still down.
Yeah.
And I know bullpen-wise, Morris is going to start tomorrow, but it's somewhat of a bullpen game. As far as you can get him, the more it helps the next day.
Well,
Another run would help that.
Yeah, that was the first extra base hit out of their 9 hits today, is that
double?
Gonzalez double.
Right at the second baseman. Massey will throw out Jimenez 2 down. Oscar Gonzalez moves to third. And up comes Owen Miller. Slow chopper up the middle. Whitfield fires through it away. Another run will score. Oscar Gonzalez touches home. And the Guardians catch a break as Bobby Witt Jr. tried to get rid of it quickly. And on that, sometimes on that buggy whip throw, he got a little too much air under it.
Yeah, that's a sling. I mean, he had to get under. He's been used to throwing it from third base.
Right.
And now all of a sudden he knew he had to get rid of it quickly.
Duck, Sandy.
But
Man
he
down.
had to get down.
Make sure we get film of that.
Well, it was coming his way, man. He had to get down, didn't want to interfere with it.
He's going to punch me because he knows I'm laughing already.
It's going to be an infield hit for Owen Miller in the judgment of the official score. That's not a routine play for Bobby Witt Jr. He's got to get the throw off on the run. To second base, Massey will throw out Freeman to end the inning. Guardians tack one more on. They lead it 4-1, middle of the 8th.
For access to potential 22 postseason games. Season plans begin with just 20 games, and they feature deep discounts, box office pricing, flexible ticket exchange, discounts, and other exclusive benefits. Call 216-420-HITS or visit CLEGuardians.com.
Hunter Dozier, Michael Massey, Drew Waters for Kansas City here in the 8th inning. And Dozier down the line. It's a foul ball. Cleveland bullpen is quiet because, as you see, Shane Bieber's only made 85 pitches so far tonight. He has a chance, if he can be efficient here in the 8th, to go the distance tonight. He has one complete game, and that's another one of those bizarre deals, right? When you talk about the complete game and how it's become a thing of the past.
Yeah.
Shane Bieber's second in the league with one complete game.
Yeah. How about that?
Framber Valdez leads the league with two.
Two. Yeah, they are a thing of the past, no doubt. It's all about pinch count.
The 2-1. You know, Rick, a couple of things come to mind. Pitch count, yes, for sure. But also something that you have really been on for most of the season, and it's really come to light for you of late, because I've heard you talk about it time and time again. As Shane Bieber strikes out Hunter Dozier, that's a half dozen Ks for the Guardians right-hander. And that is, and I'm not saying that every pitcher is guilty of this, but more and more we see guys want to do what? Spin the baseball. Spin it, spin it, spin it. And when you do that, maybe you're bouncing more. Maybe they're fouling more off. Whatever the case may be, they're not trying to get that guy to put the ball in play in one or two pitches in an at-bat. They're trying to go for strikeouts, and so it drives up the pitch count.
Yeah.
And that's why guys have a tougher time going deeper into games.
Yeah, I mean, you set things up differently. I mean, these guys are very good at what they do, and spinning it is something that everybody does. We're seeing it come out of every bullpen. Guys with sliders after slider after slider.
Who are throwing 98 to 100 miles an hour.
Or, yeah, I mean 100 miles an hour, some of them, and in the high 90s.
And they still want to throw slider after slider.
Yeah, that guy, one guy in Seattle is amazing.
Andres Munoz.
Munoz. Yeah, it's like this guy's 102, 103, and he does it.
Well,
it's like, okay.
Speaking of throwing hard and complete games, our guy down in Florida, he's got 4, Alcantara. He's the only one that they let go deep.
Though, that guy, I mean, if you listen to any of his interviews, he wants to.
He doesn't want out.
Finish 9. He goes in there for 9.
He almost fought Manley a couple weeks ago when they were playing the Dodgers.
It's a foul ball up the first base line. Oh, man. You know what? You know how we'd be early in the year, we were going to have an all-Manning team with the guys who are catching the foul balls?
I know what you got.
We're going to have an all-Andre team. Just his own team with his own names.
You'll know who they are.
We already do.
They know who they are.
You know, too. Don't sit here and act like you don't.
And Rosario, what a flip with the glove to
Nice.
retire Massey, 2 down.
Those middle infielders with the smaller gloves can do that. Grab it and flip it pretty much in the same motion. Can't do that with an outfielder's glove so easy, but this is done to perfection. Charge it, don't want to put it in the hand. You see the guys getting down there, and he just like flips it over to him. There used to be that flip game, if you remember, around that guys and teams used to play. And this is one right there. Let me flip it over to you.
Up high, ball one to Drew Waters, 0 for 2 tonight.
I know my starting pitcher is on that team.
Does his name start with a P?
It starts with a P. He's on the shelf in the grocery stores.
I'm going to go hang out with the dogs. Leave me alone.
You need that special opener to get that jar open. Here's the 1-1. It's so down low.
I'm turning my mic.
The 2-1. Cut fastball, but it was right there, and Waters swung through it.
Yeah, they're pushing everybody over to the right side like they're in pull mode.
And Shane Bieber with the 2-2. And a foul ball.
This is the deepest I've seen this guy go into a count. Although he did foul off some pitches before he hit the home run off Tristan yesterday.
Yeah, Drew Waters was 2 for 15 before he doubled and homered in last night's game. He has struck out, grounded out against Shane Bieber tonight. And now the 2-2. Struck him out looking with his 7th punch out of the night. And oh, by the way, that's 8 straight set down by the former Cy Young winner. We go to the 9th in Kansas City. Guardians up 4-1. By appearances, at least for the moment, it looks like Shane Bieber is coming back to try and finish this game for Cleveland. Nobody up in the Cleveland bullpen. Brad Keller worked the 8th, allowed a run on 2 hits. He stays on to pitch the 9th. Austin Hedges leading off for Cleveland. He has walked, singled, and scored a run. Into right center field, a long run, and Waters is there to make the catch. 1 down. Stick around for Guardians Live, presented by Toyota. Alan Jensen will have highlights analysis. Andre will take you inside the clubhouse. Here from the Guardians, manager Terry Francona. That's all coming up next. James Karinchak is now getting loose in the Cleveland bullpen. We'll wait and see if that's a just-in-case thing. Miles Straw looks at a pitch outside. It's 2 games, but Miles Straw has put back-to-back 2-hit games together here in Kansas City. You know, he came out of the chute swinging the bat well here in Kansas City when we began the year. Routine roller to short, 2 away. And back to the top of the order, and Stephen Kwan, who is 0 for 4. 12,580 Royals fans turned out tonight, not including the 447 dogs.
Is that how many they had there? They
as
keep
well.
track, huh?
Yeah, almost 500 dogs turned out for Bark in the Park. You know, it's funny because I remember on the occasion when we would see one of those events, you would always hear dogs. I haven't heard a dog bark one time tonight.
Well-mannered.
They are well-mannered Kansas City canines.
Yes, indeed.
You guys are just in the wrong section.
Is that right?
I did hear a couple.
Yeah, I've heard a couple there.
Did you step in anything?
He's not walking around
It's gonna be your foot when I see you. So put on some different shoes when I see you later.
We're going to stop and get some steel toe boots.
Yeah.
Okay, Pickles.
He may pitch tomorrow, so I better work on that tonight.
1 ball, 1 strike. And Kwan trying to shoot one up the gut. Cut off by Witt. Slings that across in time to get him. The Guards go 1, 2, 3. They'll try to hold on to a 4-1 lead, and it looks like Karinchak is coming on. Well, Shane Bieber went 8 innings tonight for Cleveland. He struck out 7. He allowed 4 hits, walked 1. The only run of the night came on a home run by Salvador Perez, and 4 of his 7 strikeouts came over the last 3 innings in which he retired the last 8 in a row.
He just he moved the ball around. He had good stuff. He kept it down, was on target all night. You go 8 innings when you can. And, you know, I'm sure in right time he would have been able to complete a game here, but you've got a 3-run lead. Karinchak's going to come on, and he's going to have an opportunity to get a save here. But Bieber, another good start. So pencil it in for the last 8. Been very solid.
James Karinchak has the top of the order for Kansas City. MJ Melendez will lead it off for the Royals. He is 0 for 2 with a walk. Fastball up high, 1-0. Fastball right at the bottom of the strike zone to even it up. Swing and a miss. James Karinchak has been on an extended roll. Bounced that one in there, 2-2.
Well, you're right. I mean, you look at coming into today, 19 innings and not allowing an earned run in his last appearances. It's been unbelievable. He has really solidified that bullpen since he's been able to get back here and help out.
2-2. Just missed at the top of the zone with that curveball. You can see why he gives hitters fits, because when he can ride that high fastball up in the zone at 95, and then that breaking ball, you've got to decide as a hitter. Probably, you've got to sit on one or the other.
That's true, and you better sit on a fastball because you don't want to walk him, so you got to challenge him or throw a strike here.
The 3-2. Swing and a miss. He went high cheddar, and Melendez helped him out.
And this is ball 4, but he chases it. He sees that fastball up there, and he gets after it. He took that breaking ball that was up there and took it well, but he swings at the fastball. And Karinchak gets the first out, and it comes on a strikeout.
Bobby Witt Jr. 0 for 3 tonight. Another good fastball. 1 ball, 1 strike. Cody Morse on the left of your screen will be the starting pitcher tomorrow, making his second major league start. Debut came in Cleveland. The 1-1. Another fastball blew it by. But again, for Cody Morse, I mean, he's still building up, so he'll still be on a pitch count of 65, maybe 70 pitches at most.
Yeah.
So they're going to need some arms out of the bullpen to help out tomorrow, which is why what Shane Bieber did today is so important. Swing and a miss. All fastballs, and he powered it by Bobby Witt Jr. 2 down. And you know what, Rick? It's not surprising that Shane Bieber went out and did what he did tonight. But I asked Tito before the game, you know, does it concern you at all that a guy, he knows, Shane Bieber knows the situation. He knows the bullpen's a little taxed.
Right.
He knows what lies ahead tomorrow. And sometimes, you know, we always talk about hitters trying to do too much. The concern is, could a pitcher try and maybe go out there and think, I've got to do all this and do too much and get yourself into trouble? Tito said, not worried about him at all. And a little bobble by Rosario. He recovers, throws him out, book it. The Guardians have won 2 in a row here in Kansas City. And on the year, they've won 8 out of 12 from the Royals. A chance to sweep the series now tomorrow night in the finale. Shane Bieber gets the win. He goes to 9-8 in his career. It's his 50th career victory.
Well, congratulations to him for that. It was, I mean, man, right guy in game number 2 of this series. He made it look easy. He ate up 8 innings. They were able to put a couple on the board in the 3rd. They followed it up with single runs in the 7th and 8th, and it's that's a good way to start this road trip.
Tidy 2.5 hours, 2 hours 32 minutes to be precise. Time of the game. And the Guardians are now 70-64 on the year. Game and a half up in the AL Central. Kansas City now 55-82. All right, time now for Guardians Live with Alan Jensen. Talked about Shane Bieber's 50th career win. How about this, guys? 32 of his career wins have come on the road, and an ERA on the road of just 2.80. This guy's been something special.